at the parking garage. For senior managers surrounded me after I rejected their shady promotion deal. They threatened my career, saying, "Refusing our offer was a mistake. You'll regret this." I smiled, knowing the hidden document in my car would end them. By morning, the CEO was calling me. I saw the text pop up on my phone and froze. "We found what we needed." It was 11:27 p.m. in downtown Dayton, Ohio, and I knew everything had changed. My name is Cooper Lane. I've lived in Dayton most of my life, worked as a technician at a small IT shop, kept my head down, and believed in doing things right. Then came Marisol Vega. She was sharp, ambitious, knew how to push through glass ceilings in a city that didn't offer many. We met at a conference in Columbus. She was presenting, I was assisting a speaker. She was smart, funny, magnetic. Soon we were working on a project together, becoming partners, not just professionally, but in a way I don't need to explain. Marisol had a daughter, Zoe Vega, aged 16. Zoe needed help with a computer science project, and I was happy to mentor. Over months we became a tight group. Even though I'd always thought I'd never get serious, past baggage, I found myself caring a lot. Believe me, that matters in this story. Everything seemed fine until the night I came home early from the shop. I decided to surprise Marisol with dinner at her loft on East 3rd Street. I unlocked the door. It was dark. Zoe's laptop was open on the table. Marisol wasn't there, but that wouldn't be unusual. She loved late-night walks. I called out, "Marisol?" No reply. I flicked the light switch. The TV was on. Her phone was on the sofa. I started to text her. Then I heard a movement behind me. "She's here," a calm voice said. I turned. It was Zoe, standing in the doorway, her face pale. She was holding a USB drive. "Cooper, you need to see this." I followed her into the bedroom. On the bed, Marisol, bound to the headboard, gagged. My heart jumped. "Marisol," I shouted. Zoe gestured to a file open on her laptop. It showed logs of a financial account, millions of dollars moved overseas, tied to an offshore shell company. All signed with Marisol's name. Zoe's voice cracked. "She's been doing something I found out." I told her to stop. She wouldn't. "I found these when I hacked into her old laptop. Mom didn't know. She thought she could trust me. I ended up exposing her." Marisol moaned. A man's silhouette appeared in the doorway. I hadn't noticed him arrive. He wore a suit, tight tie, posture like a shark. He walked into the room and said, "Good. Now we're all set to proceed." Zoe looked at me. "We need your help." It hit me like a punch. Betrayal didn't hit me. Fear did. Confusion. I had walked into some trap. But whose trap? Marisol's or Zoe's? Or the man in the tie? Then Marisol's phone buzzed. The screen lit up with a photo, Zoe, smiling, standing next to the man in the suit. And the caption, "Operation Raptor 3, Phase 1 complete." Zoe nodded at me. "Everything you believed, that you were helping us. It was for this." My mind raced. I looked from Marisol, bound and terrified, to the man who now locked the bedroom door behind him and said, "Now Cooper, you'll decide. Will you be the one to return what Marisol stole? Or you'll disappear with her?" Like and subscribe, hit the bell, and comment. Where do you think this story is heading next? Because that's where I stood. In a dark bedroom in Dayton, with a woman I loved tied up, a teenager who had set it all up, and some shady guy named Harding Cross playing puppet master. And I didn't have a clue how I ended up here. Harding Cross, if that was his real name, leaned casually against the dresser like he hadn't just suggested I help him cover up a massive crime or disappear. He smiled like a dentist. "Tick-tock, Cooper. This only goes one of two ways. You give us the backup drive Marisol stashed, or we let the company think you were the brains behind the fraud. Who do you think they'll believe?" Zoe kept her eyes down. She looked nothing like the scared kid I'd mentored. Her fingers tapped nervously against her phone screen. "You're bluffing," I said. "Nope," Harding replied, tilting his head. "Let me show you something." He tossed a tablet onto the bed. A live video played, grainy security footage from my apartment building. It showed me entering with what looked like a silver drive. My heart dropped. "We planted it," Harding said, reading my face. "Security footage. Fingerprints. A witness statement if we need it. Want to guess who signed it?" I knew before he said it. "Your boss, Rick Cardenas. He took our offer 3 days ago. Cheaper to sell you out than keep covering for you." I sat on the edge of the bed. Marisol struggled against the restraints, eyes wide, mouth gagged. "Why her?" I asked. Harding's smile faded. "Because she got greedy. She was supposed to move the funds and disappear. But she hid a copy. You know what's on it? Not just the accounts. Names, politicians, execs, shell companies tied to the Department of Defense. You think this was about money? This is national." He stepped forward. "So I'll ask one more time. Where is the drive?" I stood slowly. Okay, he asked. I nodded. "Yeah, I'll get it. It's in the server room at the shop. Behind the cooling ducts. You'll need my key fob." Zoe stared at me, her lips tight. "You're lying." "I'm not," I said, locking eyes with her. "You want the drive, I'll take you. But Marisol comes with me. No restraints." Harding considered it. Then to my shock nodded. "Fine. But any sudden moves?" He trailed off, pulling back his coat to show a Glock holstered to his hip. So that's how I ended up in a car with Zoe and Harding, driving through silent Dayton streets at 2:14 a.m. Marisol in the back seat, bruised but now untied. We pulled up behind my shop on Wayne Avenue. The street was empty. I opened the back door with my key fob and let them inside. They followed me to the rear hall. The server room was dead quiet, full of blue light and hums. I reached into the wall behind the duct panel and pulled out a box. Harding's eyes gleamed. "Hand it over." But I didn't move. "Before I give this to you, tell me what this really is. Why the hell did Zoe help you?" Zoe stepped forward. "Because I was trying to stop her. My mom. She promised me she'd quit after the Venezuelan account. But she didn't. She took more money. I confronted her. She said she'd do one last job. But then Harding found me. He offered me a choice." Her voice cracked. "Either help him get the backup drive, or end up like Dad." My stomach flipped. "Zoe, I thought your dad left." Harding laughed. "No, he got too curious. He found one of the offshore statements Marisol left out. Died in a car crash 6 months ago in North Carolina. No brake fluid. Remember?" Zoe stared at the floor. "I never believed it was an accident." Harding reached for the box. Enough truth for one night. But when he grabbed it, he cursed. It was empty. "What the—" I hit the emergency switch on the wall. Instantly, metal shutters dropped over every door. Backup power kicked on. The server room sealed. "What did you do?" Harding growled. I held up my phone. "Live stream. Been recording this since we left the loft." Zoe gasped. "You tricked me?" "No. I trusted you'd do the right thing, and you still can. This guy's not helping you. He's the reason your dad's gone." Harding drew his gun. "Open the doors." I stared him down. "They're not opening until cops show up. They've been tracking the signal since we walked in. Your face, voice, confession. It's all on record." Marisol, bruised and silent until now, suddenly laughed. "You really should have done your homework, Harding," she said. "Cooper's not just some tech guy. He built the security protocols for the entire Dayton police intranet. He's the reason they've been able to track people like you. Sirens in the distance. Tires on asphalt." Harding ran for the exit, but the shutters held. He turned the gun on me, but Zoe stepped in the way. "Do it," she said, eyes wet. "But you already lost." He didn't pull the trigger. He just slumped, like he knew it was over. By the time the police came, I'd already transferred the footage to 3 secured locations. Harding Cross was arrested on conspiracy, blackmail, and obstruction of justice. Zoe was taken in for questioning, but later cleared. Marisol, she made a deal. She agreed to testify against a shadow network of international financial criminals and corrupt officials. In exchange for immunity and protection, she handed over the real backup drive. It exposed dozens of high-level players in multiple cities. Zoe and I don't speak anymore, but I hear she started a program in forensic tech at Carnegie Mellon. As for me, I kept the shop, but now I take side contracts for the DOJ. Sometimes, when I lock the server room, I still hear Harding's words, "You don't understand what you're involved with." But I do now, and I've never felt more alive. It was supposed to be over. Harding Cross was in custody. The drive had been submitted, and the DOJ had everything they needed. But 3 weeks after that night, I got an envelope at the shop. No return address, no stamp, just a thick manila folder slid under the back door sometime before dawn. Inside, photos of Zoe walking alone outside her campus library. Screenshots of Marisol sitting in a nondescript car. And a final note, "You made the wrong enemies. This isn't done." That was the moment I realized something terrifying. Harding wasn't the top. He wasn't even close. I brought the folder straight to Agent Cashin Levesque, the federal officer assigned to the case. He was ex-Navy, soft-spoken, and precise. We met at a diner in Springfield, Ohio, away from cameras. Levesque looked through the photos. His expression didn't change. "Who would do this?" I asked. "I thought we got the whole network." Levesque tapped the edge of the photos. "These weren't taken by amateurs. You're looking at long-lens work, high-res, unobstructed line of sight. That takes access, planning, and resources." He pulled out a second folder from his briefcase. He slid it to me. It was labeled The Pipeline. "I need you to look at these names," he said. "They're all connected to the original shell companies Harding used. But look closer, there's overlap with government contracts, defense procurement, and something called Index 41. I flipped through. Familiar faces stared back. People from meetings Marisol had once attended. Zoe's old school advisor. Even a former city councilman from Dayton. I stared at Levesque. "What the hell is Index 41? He leaned in. "It's a back-channel procurement stream for defense tech, used when the government wants to buy innovations without going through red tape. Normally it's clean, but someone's been using it to funnel money through ghost companies for years. They don't just steal innovations. They bury them. They kill them before they threaten the status quo." I felt cold. "You're saying Harding was just a middleman?" Levesque nodded. "And whoever he worked for, they're still out there." 2 days later, Zoe called me from an unknown number. "They approached me," she whispered. "At school. A guy in a brown coat. Said I'd be safe if I just stayed out of it. He knew things, Cooper. About my dad. About you." She paused. "He said if I ever needed proof, I should look inside the red folder Mom kept under the floorboards." "Red folder? Zoe?" I said, heart pounding. "Do not go back to that apartment." She laughed nervously. "I'm already there." By the time I reached Marisol's old place, the front door was cracked open. A single pair of muddy footprints led inside. "Zoe," I called out, carefully stepping through. No answer. Then I heard it, slow, shuffling footsteps above me. From the attic. I crept upstairs, every nerve on edge. The attic door was half open, the string ladder dangling. I climbed slowly, flashlight in one hand, my sidearm in the other. When I reached the top, my breath caught. Zoe sat cross-legged near the window, holding the red folder. Her face was pale. "I found it," she said. "I didn't believe it until I saw it." She opened the folder and passed me a single sheet of paper. It was a contract, a classified agreement. Marisol's name was on it, along with a government seal and a blacked-out section labeled Property Transfer, Index 41. Below it, a list of prototype files. And one word written in red ink, Project Grendel. Zoe looked up at me. "They killed my dad because he found this. And they're not done. Mom was trying to expose it before they got to her." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text. "You have 24 hours. Leave this alone or the next folder we send you will be for your funeral." Zoe saw the message. "They're watching us, aren't they?" I nodded, and I realized we had just crossed into something bigger than all of us. Something not just about stolen money or revenge. Something that might rewrite what the government lets the public know. We didn't go home. That night, Zoe and I stayed in a cheap motel off Route 35, a place with no cameras and cash-only check-in. I jammed a chair under the doorknob and set motion alerts on every window. Zoe didn't sleep. Neither did I. At 3:12 a.m., someone knocked. Not a pounding. Not aggressive. Just 3 slow knocks. I pulled my gun and stepped to the door. Who is it? A pause. Then a voice, female, raspy, older. If you want to live, don't open the door. Just listen. I kept my finger on the trigger. Go on. You don't know what Grendel is, she said. But I do. I helped build it. Zoe sat up behind me, eyes wide. I'm leaving you a burner phone outside. It has the encryption key you need to access the real Grendel archive. Not what Marisol had. Not what Harding knew. The full file. But once you open it, they'll know. So make that choice carefully. Who are you? I asked, but she was already gone. The burner phone was cheap, plastic, Nokia style. It had one contact saved under the name Crow. When I clicked it, a message opened. Grendel isn't a project. It's a suppression directive. A kill list for American-born tech innovations deemed too disruptive to national stability. If you've received this, it's because one of its victims trusted you. Be warned. Every time Grendel is accessed, an alert pings a group buried inside the DoD. Your window is 18 minutes. Then they come. Zoe whispered, "Do we open it?" I didn't answer. I powered up my laptop, connected the phone, and entered the code. It decrypted instantly. What we saw, it started with patents, fully approved, cutting-edge designs from American engineers, inventors, scientists. Most never saw daylight. Some were bought and shelved. Others never even made it to production. One was a portable desalination device that could have solved water shortages in developing countries. Another, a clean energy cell that required no rare minerals. Then I saw Elijah Vega's name, Zoe's dad. His was a predictive logistics AI designed to eliminate waste in supply chains. The report next to his name read, "Risk. Disrupts commercial shipping profits by 38%. Countermeasures. Psychological pressure. Controlled employment termination. Contingency. Health condition exploitation if non-compliant." Couldn't breathe. This wasn't about business. It was policy. They had a formalized system for silencing American creators in the name of stability. Zoe stared at the screen, her voice hollow. They killed him because he made something that worked too well. And suddenly it all clicked. The shell companies, the stalled projects, Marisol's offshore accounts. Harding. They weren't criminals. They were enforcers. I copied the files onto 3 separate drives and encrypted them with triple-layer security. Then we destroyed the burner phone and left the motel before the sun rose. By 9 a.m., we were sitting across from Agent Levesque again, this time at a quiet rest stop outside Cincinnati. I showed him the drive. He stared at the label. "Grendel," he said. "I've heard that word only once. Years ago. From a guy who disappeared 2 weeks later." I slid it across the table. "This isn't some internet myth," I told him. "It's real. And it has a list." He plugged it into a secured laptop, then paled. Not just at the documents, but at the names. Because next to each innovation, there was a corresponding contact. Senators, lobbyists, CEOs, a few journalists. People marked as red access, meaning they had full knowledge. "Jesus," he whispered. "There's over 200 people in here." I pointed to the top file. "Check that one." He clicked it open. A dossier on Director Emil Wexler, head of the National Science Oversight Bureau. A printed email read, "Confirm Vega has been neutralized. Harding is instructed to retrieve secondary copy from Vega's daughter if necessary. Use cover protocol 3A if Cooper Lane becomes involved." My name, in a federal black program file. We were now officially targets. We went dark. No phones. No internet. Cash-only everything. Levesque moved us to a safe house in rural Indiana, just outside Warsaw. An old farmhouse surrounded by fields. But someone had already breached us. The second night, A red drone hovered outside the barn around midnight. Levesque shot it down, but not before it had eyes on us. "They're triangulating," he said. "We have days. Maybe." "What do we do?" I asked. He hesitated. "Expose it. But not to the DOJ. Not to the media." "Then who?" "A former NSA whistleblower. Lives off-grid in Nevada. Goes by Juno. You take the drive to her. I'll draw heat away here." I shook my head. "You'll die." "Maybe," he said. "But if Grendel stays hidden, a lot more people will." Zoe stepped forward. "Then we go tonight." That's how we ended up driving west, through the night, with a laptop full of secrets and assassins probably on our tail. Every car behind us was a maybe. Every stop for gas felt like a risk. But we knew this: Grendel only exists in the dark. The moment the public sees it, the game changes. And we're almost there. Nevada felt like another planet. The desert was endless. Nothing but red dust, scrub brush, and skies that swallowed the sun. After 2 days of driving, my eyes felt like sandpaper. Zoe hadn't spoken much. Neither had I. The further we got from Ohio, the clearer it became. There was no going back. We reached Rachel, Nevada, population 48, if the sign was still accurate. It was the closest town to our destination. The meeting spot wasn't in town, though. It was 12 miles out, down an unmarked service road, GPS disabled. Just coordinates given to us by Levesque over a disposable radio. 37.648. Minus 115.750. We followed the rocky trail until the ground gave way to cracked clay flats. Then, just like that, she appeared. A woman, standing beside a rusted-out shipping container. Aviators. Combat boots. Gray braid down her back. She looked like someone who could disappear a body and still be home in time for dinner. "Call me Juno," she said, her voice like gravel. Zoe clutched the drive. "You're the one who can stop this?" Juno smirked. "Sweetheart, nobody can stop it. But we can make sure the whole damn country sees it." Inside the container was a fully operational server rig, solar-powered, connected to what she called her Dead Angel network. It was a mesh of low-signal relays, abandoned satellites, and hijacked radio towers. Enough to upload the Grendel archive into 50 mirror sites and a dozen leak platforms at once. I plugged the drive in. Before I could even ask, Juno held up a hand. "Don't say it. Don't ask if it's safe. It's not. Nothing is. But it's time." She opened the files. "Holy hell," she muttered. "They even tagged R&D departments at Tesla, Lockheed, Cisco. Wait, here's one, Project Lazarus? That was a breakthrough spinal implant that vanished 2 years ago." She scrolled further. Then she stopped. "No." "What?" I asked. She turned the screen toward me. There it was, Zoe's name. Vega, ZOE, monitored subject, Class B innovator. Suppressed inheritance risk. Beneath it, a patent draft dated when she was just 14. It was a quantum encryption model. Way more advanced than anything the NSA currently had. "They flagged her," Juno said. "And not just to monitor her. They planned to block her development." Zoe stepped back. "I never even submitted that. It was just a draft I made for fun. I emailed it to myself from Mom's laptop. Once." "That was enough," Juno said. I looked at her. "Can you wipe it from their system?" She shook her head. "It's not just their system anymore. This thing's integrated into at least 3 private defense contracts and 2 foreign shell firms. The only way to stop it is to expose it. Completely. Blow it wide open." Zoe nodded. "Then do it." Juno started the upload. "Transmission will hit first node in 9 minutes," she said. But then her face changed. "No. No, no." "What?" "They've back-channeled through one of my relay towers. Someone's pushing back, injecting false files into the archive. If we upload now, they'll corrupt the data." "Can you stop them?" I asked. Juno's hands flew across the keyboard. "I can isolate the nodes, but I need time. Someone's in my system, and they're good." A shrill alarm echoed through the container. A window popped up. "Remote trace initiated." Location lock and 457-inch. They're tracing the signal, Zoe yelled. We had less than 5 minutes before someone, whoever they were, knew exactly where we were. Juno grabbed a satchel. I can finish the upload from a mobile link 2 miles west. You two go. Now, if they find you here, they'll make it look like you never existed. I hesitated. We can't just leave. She shoved a pistol into my hand. You want this out there, Cooper? Then let me finish my job. Zoe tugged at my sleeve. We'll come back for you. Juno snorted. No, you won't. But that's fine. Go. Run hard. Don't look back. We sprinted across open desert. No cover. No trees. Just brittle wind and unforgiving terrain. Behind us, in the distance, I heard it. Engines. Big ones. Black SUVs kicked up dust as they stormed down the service road. 3 of them. Maybe more. I grabbed Zoe's hand and pulled her toward a ravine. A dry wash with just enough dip to hide us for a moment. We slid down, scraped and bruised. I checked the pistol Juno gave me. Loaded. 1 spare mag in my pocket. Zoe leaned against a rock, panting. They'll kill her. I know. And maybe us. I looked her dead in the eyes. Then let's make sure it was worth it. 10 minutes later, we heard it. A loud, sharp ping from the radio in my pocket. Juno's voice came through. Upload complete. Zoe let out a sob. I smiled. Then a second voice came through. One I hadn't heard since Ohio. Harding Cross. Well done, Cooper, he said calmly. You actually did it. Which means now. It gets worse. My blood went cold. You're in custody, I growled. Oh, I was. Briefly. But see, the people who run Grendel? They don't let valuable assets rot in cells. They redeploy them. Zoe's face went pale. You two just declared war, Harding said. Enjoy your headlines. They'll keep you warm. Until we burn your entire world down. The radio went dead. We had won. But now we knew the cost. The war wasn't over. It had just begun. We didn't sleep that night. After the transmission, Juno's signal went dark. Whether she made it out or not, we didn't know. Her server was gone. Her container torched. We found it the next morning from a hilltop, smoke still curling into the Nevada sky. Zoe didn't say anything. She just stared. That morning, headlines exploded. Leak exposes Government Innovation Suppression Program. DoD Black Project. Grendel targets American inventors. ex-NSA asset uploads explosive data archive online. Every major outlet picked it up. Anonymous sources. Mirror links. Forums going wild. The file couldn't be stopped. Not now. But as Juno warned, exposure doesn't equal safety. It means escalation. By mid-afternoon, we saw the first real blowback. Zoe's campus email was hacked and scrubbed. Her scholarship was revoked. Every online record of her high school awards vanished. Gone. Me? My entire work history was rewritten. According to public HR records, I'd been fired from my tech job 2 years ago for behavioral concerns. My social security number was flagged for fraud suspicion. This wasn't paranoia. This was targeted erasure. I called Agent Levesque, but the number had been disconnected. No warning. No message. Zoe grabbed my shoulder. There's a new video. We huddled over my laptop. It was already trending. A leaked security cam showing Zoe, deepfaked, meeting with a known foreign agent. Grainy, believable, damning. Comment sections were already poisoned. Teen traitor. Should be locked up. Where's the DOJ? It was happening. The same playbook they'd used to discredit inventors for years now turned on us. But we weren't defenseless. We had the files. We had the real story. And we still had one ally left. Her name was Sari Denning, an investigative journalist based out of Portland. 10 years ago, she took down a biotech firm for human testing. No one's been able to buy or scare her since. I reached out through an encrypted thread using a backchannel Juno gave us. She replied, "You've got one shot to prove this isn't a psyop. Meet in 48 hours. Alone. Crater Lake Lodge, Oregon. Bring the source drive. Come heavy. It was a death trap. Or our best chance." Zoe didn't hesitate. We go. So we drove. Across Nevada. Into California. Up the winding Oregon roads that cut through mountains like veins. We kept to side motels, used burner cards, changed plates twice. By the time we reached Crater Lake, we hadn't spoken in over an hour. We were too afraid this was where it ended. The lodge was old, creaky, beautiful in a haunted way. We rented a corner room with full visibility of the lot. At 10:03 p.m., a woman in a canvas coat entered the lobby and looked around. Late 30s, freckles, eyes sharp as razors. She saw us and smiled faintly. "Sorry, Denning," she said, offering a hand. "You must be the two who pissed off the Pentagon." We showed her the real drive. She opened her laptop, loaded it in, and read in silence for 20 minutes. Then she said, "You're going to get people killed." Zoe's voice cracked. "We already did." Sari tapped her fingers. "This isn't a leak anymore," she said. "This is a war crime exposure. Black budgets, foreign manipulation, executions. Congress will panic. Half of them are compromised. They'll declare you disinfo, or worse, say you staged it all to destabilize government institutions." "So what do we do?" I asked. She leaned back. "We go nuclear." For the next 36 hours, we worked without sleep. Sari's contact at a dark web archive authenticated the signatures, cross-referenced the patent logs, confirmed the suppression list. Then she built a time drop protocol, a dead man's switch. If anything happened to us, the final layer of Grendel files would hit servers across the world. Not just the US. We created backup drives, hid them in 4 separate cities using Sari's network. Then Sari went live. "My name is Sari Denning. I've been investigating corporate and government overreach for over a decade. Tonight, I'm releasing a file that exposes a classified program known as Grendel. Its goal, prevent certain American innovations from ever reaching the public, using intimidation, discrediting, and in some cases lethal force. I have reviewed and verified the documents. This is not conspiracy. It's coordinated suppression." The video reached 1 million views in 4 hours. Then we got the call. An unlisted number. Just 2 words. "They're coming." We were out the back door in 30 seconds. Zoe and I fled through the forest behind Crater Lake. Rain started to fall. We had no map, no plan, just one rule. Stay alive until morning. By 4 a.m., we found a ranger shack deep in the woods. Boarded up. No power. But it was shelter. Inside, we listened. Then we heard them, boots on gravel. Voices. Flashlights sweeping through the trees. They weren't cops. They weren't feds. These were cleaners. Private. Armed. Sent to erase. Zoe pressed against the wall, breath shallow. I raised my pistol. They got closer. 20 feet. 10. One flashlight hit the shack door. And then an explosion. Distant, but enough to shake the floorboards. Then another. Gunfire. Screams. We peeked outside. SUVs in flames. Bodies on the ground. And from the shadows, a figure emerged. Limping, bloodied. "Juno. I told you," she rasped, collapsing to one knee. "I finish what I start." She wasn't dead. She'd survived the attack in Nevada. She went underground. And when she saw Sari's video go live, she traced the hit squad back to Crater Lake. "We have hours," she said. "Maybe less. We need to disappear." "But we won," Zoe whispered. Juno shook her head. "We just started the war. Winning's a long way off. We didn't have time to bury the bodies." Juno led us to a military green SUV she'd taken from the squad. The plate was fake. The back was rigged with gear. Weapons, scramblers, burn phones, and 3 vests labeled Independent Press. We drove east. No destination, just away. Zoe sat in the back, pale, hugging her knees. Juno was quiet, except for the occasional cough, wet, deep. She was hurt worse than she let on. Around dawn, the radio cracked. Sari's voice. She was broadcasting live. "They tried to take me last night. I'm safe for now. But I won't be for long. So here it is. The full data set. The Grendel logs. The internal comms. The real suppression orders. It's all live, right now, and censored, irreversible. You can download it yourself at mirror sites, on-chain, on IPFS, and on cold web storage. To every whistleblower who's afraid, now's your moment. We made the first move. Now you make the next. Then her voice cracked. Cooper, Zoe, if you're still alive, thank you. Juno's hands tightened on the wheel. They'll kill her for that. We pulled over by an abandoned gas station near the Colorado border. Juno opened the back, slid out a laptop, and booted into what she called her last resort node. A folder labeled Gorgon. What's that? I asked. She hesitated. The final layer. The insurance. Everything Grendel didn't want us to see. It opened. Inside were files marked. Pattern D1. Political engineering class red. Civilian mobilization scenarios beta kill switch. National infrastructure simulations. It wasn't just about innovation. They weren't just killing ideas. They were planning responses to public awakening. Riot simulations. Pre-justified blackouts. Financial fail-safe collapse models. Media crash directives. They weren't protecting the country. They were preparing to control it once people knew the truth. Zoe whispered. This is what they'll use to bury it all again. Juno looked at us. We release this. There's no coming back. I nodded. Then we release it. The Gorgon protocol went live at 8:19 a.m. It spread faster than Grendel. Because it wasn't just conspiracy. It was proof of what comes next. And that's when the world broke. Within 72 hours, 4 senators resigned. A DoD spokesperson vanished mid-interview. #NGrendel trended globally. Hackers dumped 15 more suppressed patents into the public domain. An anonymous military whistleblower posted a 50-page confession. And on day 4, Harding Cross was found dead. Hung in a private holding cell. But not by suicide. Someone had carved the word Gorgon into the concrete above his bunk. We didn't stop running. They couldn't trace us. Not after Juno rerouted our identities through 6 layers of chaos. Cooper Lane died in a data center fire, according to social records. Zoe Vega? She became a name whispered on message boards. The girl who broke the lock. Juno? Gone. Disappeared one night without a word. But I know she's still out there. Every time a new leak hits, it smells like her. It's been 14 months now. Governments are still scrambling. Some are reforming, others collapsing. Whistleblower amnesty bills are on the floor of Congress. Public trust is fractured. But something else is happening too. Inventors are resurfacing. Engineers, designers, researchers, they're sharing again. Open source, decentralized, unstoppable. One of them used Zoe's quantum encryption model. She got a message last week. Your code kept us safe. Thank you. She smiled for the first time in months. I work from shadows now. Off-grid. No name. Just signal. But I keep the original Grendel file printed in a safe. Not as a trophy. As a warning. Because for every program we expose, another one waits in the dark. If the story moved you, like and subscribe for more. Comment below. What would you do if you found out your government was killing innovation? Would you speak up? Because someone will. And when they do, they'll need people like you. Still waters run deep, but it's the ripples that start revolutions.